Alright, and welcome back to my Zelda II Adventure of Link guided walkthrough on how to beat the game without leveling up life and magic. In the previous episode, Link turned into the Messiah of Hyrule, so now we get a hidden heart container. By the way, you don't need to waste magic on the jump spell in order to get the heart container here. It's a bit of a weird jump because you're standing in water, but after a couple of tries you can get up there without the jump spell. And then it's time to get the flute in the Ocean Palace. And this will give us access to Southeast Hyrule, where the final magic container can be found. That way we finally have enough magic points to use all required spells on level 1. Okay, let's start with the important stuff. Anyway, the Ocean Palace. My intention was to clear out this entire palace in one go, but that was a bit too optimistic. Just remember that as long as you get an item, you keep it even if you get a game over. Here at the start you can pretty much ignore the shooting head on the wall, as long as you immediately approach the first enemy, block its projectile, kill it and move on, then you are already out of range. I also need to mention again that when you start a section at 0 experience points, always be aware of being asked to level up twice, at 50 points and at 100 points. You don't want to accidentally level up, and just to be sure, it's best to intentionally get a game over after clearing out a palace, for example, because after a game over you can save the game, and you do want to save often. Moreover, it's of course best to start a palace with all of your extra lives remaining. And if you accidentally level up, you don't want your last save game being before you entered the previous palace, for example. So here you need to use the fairy spell, and unfortunately you cannot pick up the key in that form. But you can still take damage, so be aware of that. Also, I need to mention something about the fairy spell in relation to keys. It is possible to cheat, so to speak, using the fairy spell, as it allows you to pass through doors. But I do think that's a bit cheap, so I never do that in this playthrough. Moreover, the fairy spell requires a lot of magic to use anyway, so often it's not such a great option anyway. Don't attack the incoming horse heads, just jump over them. If you don't keep moving, you are guaranteed to fall to your death. In fact, it's best to not even use the down thrust attack. You can use these blocks to limit the Red Knight's movements, but it doesn't really function as a shield. You can hit him across the block, but he can hit you as well. So don't think you are safe behind this block. And for the second knight, be aware that at any time a blue jelly can spawn behind you. Okay, in this room blocks will fall down and you need to get on top of those blocks in order to get the key. However, what I prefer to do is to wait for all the blocks to fall down and then simply create a path by destroying blocks until you reach the key. So that way you aren't in danger of a block falling on your head. However, you are far from safe, as there are a couple of those annoying floating eyeballs in this room as well. Ah, that's lame. He still got me in the end. Well, at least I don't have to get the key again. So this time I can just run past these fuckers and the falling blocks. What sucks though is that there is a horse head on the wall in the next corridor in which a red potion is hidden. So if I had made it there without dying, I could have used a life spell. But it's not going to do me much good at this point. At any point where those wizards show up, or pyromancers I should call them perhaps, it's best to keep jumping while doing the down thrust attack, because that might allow you to bounce off them if they spawn right in front of you. The boss of this palace is to the left, but we're going for the flute first. So we need to take the elevator down, one floor, and then ignore the next elevator for now, because we need another key on top of the one in this room. Well, isn't that fair? They didn't put a red potion in this statue, even though you were forced to use the jump spell in this room. Now it looks like a dead end after the blue knight in this room, but there's a hidden path right through the wall. However, if you jump over the knight, be aware that he can still hit you by throwing a sword in your direction. Ah fuck, there goes my second life. As I said, I was a bit too optimistic to expect to clear out this entire palace in one go. Enemies hit really hard at level 1 at this point in the game. So now I'm on my final life, but as long as I can get the flute, I've made progress even if I get a game over. So let's not fuck up this time. This time you can use these blocks as shields, because if you break the lower block, you can hit their legs, but they cannot hit you. Well, unless they say fuck it and just jump over the blocks. Alright, one more hallway and then we'll find the flute behind a locked door. Unfortunately, there's a blue knight in front of the door, and you should know by now how dangerous those fuckers can be. Also, more pyromancers and shooting heads, as you can see. So definitely make sure to use the shield spell. That way you can take quite a lot of hits in fact. With the exception of the blue knight of course, that guy still hits like a truck. You know what? Fuck it, I'm getting the flute. I'm not going to risk dying right before I get the item. There, getting a game over doesn't matter at that point. We got the flute, and in fact that's actually not a bad thing. Because we might as well get the final heart and magic containers and the magic key before finishing the Ocean Palace. Especially the magic key is a great item to have as early as possible, as it means that you can skip sections in palaces where you are normally required to get small keys. Okay, these fence sections can be pretty annoying and I'm not really all that good at avoiding these rocks. All I can say is to at least don't move too fast. You have to move back and forth, because you can't just outrun all of these rocks. Moreover, there is no town in Southeast Hyrule where you can heal, so you have to be at least a bit careful with your life. However, for now we are only here to get the magic key, magic container and another heart container, but you also need to move past here on your way to the final palace. And that's when you especially don't want to take too much damage. You could use the defense spell, but that's only active for a single segment, of course. Alright, so here we have the final hidden heart container. So this will be our maximum amount of health for the rest of the game. It looks like a lot perhaps, but in the final palace it really doesn't matter that much. At level 1, the end of the game is going to be extremely tough, with or without all 4 heart containers. These spiders can be somewhat annoying, you can let them jump over you, but that won't always go as planned. So other times it's best to bounce off them with the down thrust attack. Unfortunately they jump higher than you, so they can also hit you in mid-air because of that. Here I initially cut down the wrong bush, it's the second one of the second row. And inside the village, look for the person coming out of their house when you walk by, like always. And there you will get the final magic container. And then in one of the other houses you will find a fireplace that you can go into. And there you will get the, well, magic spell. I don't know why they couldn't come up with a better name for it. Well, anyway, if you then go to the edge of the town, using the magic spell makes a sort of temple come out of the ground, and inside you will find the magic key. And that's an awesome item, because it allows you to open any door, so no longer are small keys required to open doors. Alright, back in the Ocean Palace. This is the corridor that contains the elevator that we previously took down to where the flute was. So now we're going to go further to the left until we reach another elevator. If you take that one up, you are already at the boss of this palace. Now there is a locked door in the way, but thanks to the magic key, we can get past it without getting another small key. On the elevator, stick to the right and immediately get off as soon as you can, because otherwise you cannot hit the knight, you need to be at his level. And then it's time for what is ironically the easiest boss in the game in my opinion. But do equip the shield spell just to be sure. But all you need to do is to wait for him to attack, then immediately approach him, attack, and move back again. And that's literally all there is to it. Let him attack, close in, attack once, and move back again. And after he's dead, we finally have our sword at the maximum level, level 8. So that means we are as strong as we can possibly get in this playthrough. All heart containers, all magic containers, fully upgraded sword, but magic and life still at level 1. So, given that we can now finally use the reflect spell, we can also finish the palace behind the maze. And because of the magic key, we can skip several sections in this palace. So because of that, we can get to the wizard boss rather quickly. And apart from those annoying teleporting sorcerers, you won't really encounter any difficult sections. It's just that the sorcerers cannot be harmed as they are in essence smaller versions of the boss. So they also require the reflect spell. And obviously we're not going to waste our entire magic bar on regular enemies. Alright, the easiest way to take him out is to first equip the reflect spell and then get yourself into the right corner and duck. Unless you have really bad RNG, the boss will not teleport right on top of you, so then it's just a matter of time until you kill him. So the only difficulty is to get in that position in the first place. Okay, someone actually asked me whether it is possible to beat the game with all stats on level 1. And no, that is not possible, because as you will see, I am forced to level up something. You cannot cancel it. So I can only upgrade my sword again, but that will give me an extra life, because it's already fully upgraded. Anyway, that's it for this part. See you next episode.